Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Parkside Cabin Rentals. I was visiting with Jim Ogle and Jake Ogle this week, and they let me know that their Parkside Cabin Rental family has had a rough few days because one of their longtime coworkers up there, Randy Jenkins, who'd been with them for 40 years, died in an accident just a couple of weeks ago. And their whole team up there is one big family, and they're really taking it kind of hard. So I wanted to pass along our condolences from the show family to the Parkside family. You might remember me showing you this photo a few months ago when a bear climbed into one of the Parkside Cabin Rental trucks up there. Well, that was Randy Jenkins' truck. So to all of his family and friends, and certainly to the folks at Parkside Cabin Rental, God bless you. We know you're hurting right now, and just wanted to give our condolences to that whole crew, and I know that the Ogle family is wanting to let everyone in their company know that they are feeling the same thing that everybody else is. All right. Last week, we were so busy discussing the end of the season, we didn't have the appropriate time to discuss what I find is just an incredible sports oddity, and that is the Rick Barnes situation. Hall of Fame basketball coach. I would argue he has the University of Tennessee in the best position it has ever been in. You're churning guys to the NBA. You are now dealing with the big boys. You're recruiting 5 stars. You're competing for conference tournaments on a regular basis. That guy is also one of the absolute worst NCAA tournament coaches in history. He's not a guy like a Don DeVoe has a bad tournament record. Well, a lot of his tournaments were at Navy, where he's going in as a 14 seed to be slaughtered. That's not the case with Rick Barnes. He had a lot of high seeds that went belly up. Let's look at these numbers. It's fascinating, if nothing else, if we can take a look at this. All right, here we go. 51 career NCAA tournament games, 26 trips in all. He's 25-26, which means he averages going out in the second round. His winning percentage in the tournament is .490. Take the tournament games out, his winning percentage in all other games is .663. Wow. Lost to a lower seed 15 times. Now look, an 8-9, that's one thing. But he's had 6 times where he lost to an 11, 12, 13, 14, or 15, or a double-digit seed. And more remarkable, 12 times he has faced a better seed in the tournament. He's only pulled the upset by seed once. And if you look at conference tournaments, which he just won with Tennessee, just ended your night, he's taken you to 3 finals in 6 tournaments that he could have gone to since he's been here. That's more than any other coach in UT history, 3 tournament finals in the SEC. But he's only won 2 in the last 34 years in terms of those conference tournaments. I don't know that there are many things coach-wise that you can compare this to. Bobby Cox maybe with the Atlanta Braves, who as a Braves fan at the time I always felt very good CEO. He can manage a roster for the course of the season. You get him in a short deal. The other guy's going to coach rings around him. I wonder, and we discussed it a little bit with Mark Pancratz last week, does he focus on big picture stuff and not necessarily, I will do anything to get ready for March? Maybe. Thoughts, theories on this? Because this is astounding stuff to be this good and this bad. You're this good for 95% of the games and this bad for the last 5, which are the 5 that everybody remembers. Mm-hmm. Thoughts, theories?
Well, it's hard because the lack of wins against higher seeds is one of the things that is the most remarkable of all those stats that are up there. Some late in the Texas era, his tenure, he was the worst seed, but he didn't have any of those upsets either. I've thought a little bit early in the year. I felt like the team played a little bit tight. Like they played constricted, as if they're trying to think about what their assignments are. But they got past that after the loss to Kentucky, and they played looser and freer and more aggressive and just with more quality. But maybe that resurfaced in some tough situations. There's probably a whole bunch of reasons all into one, but I just haven't been able to put my finger on it. It is pretty astounding.
Well, there have to be some bad luck losses in there,
sure.
But it's too long a stretch to say it's all bad luck.
Right.
Yeah, I think you look at this team specifically and how it was crafted. I mean, inside play, outside play. You got some shooters. Josiah Jordan-James got hot late in the season. You'd hope that would carry over. And then you got shot creators and Kennedy Chandler. You have everything that you need to win the whole thing, quite frankly, especially in a year
Your
like
inside
this.
game
No question.
lacking, but
yeah.
still, yeah.
But you have all those pieces, and then you get into the tournament, you have a bad shooting day, and then all of a sudden you're done. I don't have any good theories, but I think there have only been a handful of times where he's entered into the tournament with a team about as complete as this one, and it ends the way that it did, and that's leaves a lot of people frustrated, and that's
You know,
that's hurtful.
and you look and you go to the bad luck thing. The Alexander injury, 4 years ago?
Right.
Okay, that's bad luck.
Yeah.
The Purdue game where the kid just could sit there and
had
turn
one guy
around,
who
throw
got-
it over his head. It was bad luck.
Yeah.
See, I put this one on the last loss a little bit more on coaching, though, because you were getting torn up by a big guy inside. You couldn't shoot, and you needed to shut him down. And you really didn't say, okay, look, the other 4 guys may beat us. The big guy in the middle is not going to beat us. To me, that comes down to a coaching thing. I would have taken every big guy I had on the bench and say, go beat him up. You know, do something like that. That game against Michigan looked to me more like a coaching problem outside of you couldn't hit. But the others, I mean, there's 50% bad luck, 50% coaching problem.
You know, I think the easiest answer is, well, he's a better CEO than he is a floor coach. Okay, I've thought that. But Ryan, how is he 10-7 against John Calipari in the regular season and SEC tournament? How is he basically 500 against Bruce Pearl, who everyone's in love with? He's 5-7. If he's that bad a floor coach, wouldn't that also show up in the regular season? That's what makes this so bizarre. Thoughts?
Yeah,
Theories?
A couple things that come to mind for me. I don't know his Texas teams well enough to know if this is the same thing, but I think of all of his Tennessee teams, he's had some very good teams, but I think they've all had some flaws that when they come to into tournament play have been exposed a little more. And so I wonder if roster composition is part of it. I don't know if they've had great enough shooters in a couple of these cases to make it a great run. It's a shot-making tournament, and they, obviously Vescovi, but you don't have a lot of just terrific perimeter shooters that when it comes down to it can make a big shot. How many times have they had that, or a team that's deep in shot makers? So I wonder if roster composition is part of it. And just like the way he plays, you can get through a season with a flawed team in the regular season. In the postseason, I don't know if you can do that.
But see, I
hang
think
on. Let's carry this over to the next
Yeah.
segment. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We're 15 minutes over. Come on back. We'll continue to discuss this.